A year ago I built this storage box to stop a massive pile of cushions clogging up the house. It was a bit of a concept build, I was making up as I went along and I had no idea if it would do what I wanted it to, which was to keep the cushions mould and damp free during the winter, but also to keep rodents and the rain out of the box. 1 year on, it's time to see how effective it was, but also to add some cool upgrades. So this was quite a challenge given how much metal and plastic boxes can sweat and destroy what's inside them. Breathability was to come from the breathable roof membrane that lined the inside of the box and kept the cushions clean, while small breather holes were cut into the frame below the roofline to introduce ventilation. The plan was to keep rodents out with a wire mesh that was stapled to the inside of the frame and underneath the box, and the feather edge boarding would form a final coat to keep the rain out. A roof improvised from materials lying around was weatherproofed with an EPDM rubber roof membrane kit purchased online. And then the cushions were packed into the box ready for the winter and, well, don't need to tell you what the weather's been like over the last 12 months. It was time for the moment of truth. Let's move these lounger cushions out of the way so you can see the main ones. Wow, this is everything I could have hoped for. It's an outside fabric, but it's got inners that are basically domestic internal inners, these cushions. So it was really important that we kept everything as dry as possible. And basically, it's exactly as it was before I put them in. The fabric doesn't have a hint of damp or moisture on it. There's no mold. And significantly, the underside of the roof made from this OSB doesn't have any signs of mold whatsoever. I was careful to leave a gap between the edge of the cushions and the breathable membrane just to allow maximum air to circulate. And you see here the ventilation holes that I spread around the top of the box, which are also mirrored at the front. Something has tried to make a home in here though. God knows what this was. But it wouldn't have got very far because of the gauze sheets that I put in. Go on, get out. I think what that does is illustrate just how important it is to take these measures to keep nature out. Mission accomplished? Well, not quite. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that the feather edge boarding is coming away from the doors. In addition, I've got this sort of improvised stick holding the lid up, which works pretty well actually, but isn't what I was wanting to achieve with the struts that I had. That tensioner did work, but not very well, and it's completely failed on that side. As you can see, the rivet's gone. And finally, we've got a bit of an issue with these hinges, which I found lying about, and whilst they've sort of done the job, they're not strong enough. So I'm now going to fix these issues with some modifications to give you the best chance of building the perfect storage box for your needs. And to assist you with that, there will also be plans. Feather edge boards were wet and the pin nails I used were nowhere near long enough to hold them in position whilst they dried out and warped. When you look at the size difference, you can see why the framing nails have done such a great job on the sides. But they didn't work here. Although, it does at least give me a chance to try out my new nail removing gadget. As luck would have it, I've got quite a lot of seasoned feather edge board in my now redundant log store. There's a link to that build on screen now. And this time pilot holes to stop the wood splitting for galvanised 14mm clout nails driven home with a good old-fashioned hammer, nailing over all the other pin nails to make sure it didn't happen again. It was time to tackle those doors. Always a nice moment when you take a door off without losing a screw on the floor somewhere. Right, let's go have a look at this. Tempting though it is just to bang these down with some nails, I'm going to rip the whole thing off and start again, I think. And I'm pleased I did, because the boards came off very easily, and in a matter of minutes I had a pristine door again with a little help from my random orbit sander. Thought long and hard about how to upgrade this, and I think the best option is to put some PIR underneath and bang nails all the way through and then cut them off. It's crude, but I think it'll be effective. And that's what I did, cutting new feather edge boards on my miter saw and then nailing them down with my framing nailer before nipping them off with a cut all disc on my grinder, and then sanding the back of the door to take off any sharp edges. You'd have to look pretty closely to realise what I've done. Before long, both doors were looking as good as new. Right, fingers crossed this fits. Woohoo! That is bang on! I think you'll agree, a vast improvement, and with the latches now reattached I can move on to the final stage, the roof. So as I said earlier, the hydraulic stays powering the roof broke, just not powerful enough, and I made this ridiculous attempt to get some gas struts. I bought these on Amazon. Again, these didn't work at all, and that was kind of where I thought we'd leave it. After all, this bit of wood is absolutely fine. But the story doesn't end there, because Jason Harding got in touch with me after my last video. He made the point that by making some calculations I could find gas struts powerful enough to power the storage box lid. He guessed the weight of my roof, he was 2 kilograms out only, and he even predicted what struts I might need, 300 Newton with 200mm travel. Now the manufacturer did sanity check which gas struts I needed, which they won't be able to do for you because they only supply in bulk to businesses. But what they do is supply to RS Online. I'll leave the details in the description below the video as to where, well, my struts and obviously the link to where you can get them. But you've got the benefit of seeing the dimensions of my box and the struts that work for that. There's a clever little way you can adjust them coming up shortly. And I'm pretty sure with a bit of help from AI, you'll be able to come up with exactly the right struts for your job. Right, to give you an idea of how ridiculously under spec, these are the gas struts I bought on Amazon without doing any research into the load requirements whatsoever. And these are the professionally specified struts that I've been sent. I mean, just look at the difference. Jason was spot on that the travel here was inadequate and that I'd need 200mm for my struts. At £126 including brackets, they weren't cheap, but the whole build came in at under £400, so I think I can allow myself this investment to elevate it to a professional level, hopefully. A bit of head scratching then followed, well, quite a lot actually, as I had a diagram showing me where to place the gas strut brackets. Had to make the internal battens wider to accommodate the brackets. Too deep to cut in one go, but accurate enough to cut from both sides to achieve a finish like this. I just love the versatility of circular saws. Now you'll have seen a lot of skill tools in today's video. They're currently my tool of choice. And if you've been watching my videos over the last couple of years, you'll know that I use skill tools more than anything else. Now, Skill are formally collaborating with me, which is a lovely way from them, being a great friend of my channel, to keep the lights on. If you watch my videos regularly, you'll know I don't shamelessly promote tools just for the sake of it. I genuinely love this stuff in terms of the balance it strikes between quality and price. So if you're looking to increase your tool capability right now, check out the links in the description below the video. You won't be disappointed, I promise you of that. Back to the head scratching over bracket placement. Just realised that it's the closed dimension that's important. In my case, 300mm. Because open, I can obviously raise this even more to get the piston into the ball like that. And the strut itself has this clever little pin you can remove to disengage it from the ball. The struts are in, I think, the optimal position, and the situation that I was slightly dreading has happened. As the engineer warned me, I may have to degas, which is to let out some of the nitrogen or whatever as they put in these things, because right now I literally cannot move these things without breaking something. They're not going anywhere. So that's the next move, degassing. Turns out I didn't have anything to worry about. You disengage one strut, here goes for nothing, and gradually let gas out of the other one with the Allen key provided until the strut can only just hold the roof up. By doing one at a time like this, you're building in margin for error. Suddenly, that is amazing! Having removed quite a lot of gas, it's going up, and I reckon I don't dare do any more than that. One strut is just about lifting. Do you know what though? Those hinges are knackered. There's too much pressure on it. I was hoping not to have to change these hinges because I haven't got any more strap hinges, but you look at that and there's absolutely no way I can continue with that. I've been really hoping to avoid replacing the hinges, but it occurred to me that that strap hinge was just a fundamentally flawed design for when you've got a powered lid. Remember, I put those strap hinges on before I even thought about trying to power it. The thing about what to do about this over the weekend, it occurred to me I had some standard door butt hinges, which would be much better because they'd concentrate all of the load along 4 screw fixing points. So I set about installing those instead, or possibly in addition. Haven't decided yet. So after carefully marking the position of the lid on the box, I removed it and attached a 19mm hinge mortise bit to my router and routed out and then chiselled the hinge rebates. Whilst flawed in design, those strap hinges were great because they could be screwed down from inside the box, and as I'm doing this single-handed, I couldn't fix and position the new butt hinges on my own. So I decided to keep the strap hinges in place to hold the lid for me as I fixed in position the new butt hinges. Moment of truth. And actually, if they don't compete, I might leave the strap hinges in place, you know. Looking pretty good. I'm not going to lie, it's been a bit of a marathon this, but I've got my hinges done. I kind of suspected that was going to have to be done. I've got one last job to do, degas the second strut, and hopefully then we'll be in a position to get this finished. Got to say, I'm pretty impressed with these struts. So this is a heavy lid, but check this out. I mean, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? And I suspect with the second strut on, it will be too strong, but we'll just have to see. Yeah, that's too strong. Take a bit more gas out. And I'm just going to do it gently to both of them. DIYte has been struggling to lift the lid, so hopefully this will make it a whole lot easier. I think we're done. And with that new hinge, which takes all of the weight at the bottom rather than the strap hinge being a bit of a waste of time because you've got everything bearing down on that one fixing point rather than having 4 in a line, which is what you need, it's absolutely fine now. There's no flex in it whatsoever. Do need to use all 4 fixing points on the bracket because I have had these brackets slightly slewing over under the pressure exerted by the strut. And similarly up here, I'm so glad I had this big thick border of gravel board, because again, you need to screw this bracket into the main gravel board to get its strength. And actually I've taken this old batten that was from that aborted gas strut I tried to use earlier and screwed and glued it to the edge just to give it a bit of support, because those screws are quite close to the edge. And with that done, it was time to load up the box again, because whilst we've been blessed with sunshine recently, we've had quite a lot of rain since I finished these upgrades. And after a few days TLC, all those issues I had with the storage box, caused in no small part by perhaps rushing the original build, have been resolved, and I can now see this lasting many a season to come. So that's it, we're done. I'm not going to lie, the renovations on this, modifications on this storage box and the video editing that's come after that have taken an inordinately long amount of time this week, when I should be working on the living room renovation. That's coming up in the next video. But I'm pretty proud of what we've achieved here. And we've got a 25 kilogram lid that can be lifted with a finger. And all the effort that goes into something like this, I think, really empowers us DIYers to think we can create something which is actually better than the commercial manufacturers, the professionals in the industry can create themselves, because we've got a box which is totally mold, ventilation, rodent free. and a lid which is more professional than pretty much anything that you would get on the open market. So yes, I hope you found it useful. If you're thinking of building something like this, I hope it's empowering you to think that you can achieve something like this. And to that end, I have produced some plans which you'll find in the description below. £5 to download them. Again, you're helping me to keep the lights on. I'm not nearly commercial enough on my channel. I don't make nearly enough out of it. So you'd be really helping me by downloading them. I've done everything I can to make them as straightforward as I can. Hopefully you can use them in conjunction with the video. And of course, if you've got any issues or questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll do what I can to come back to you. Any thoughts, comments on the video, again, please leave them in the comments below. I love the forum style. I love everything that everyone says. Jason's comment, which inspired me to produce this lid, is a case in point on that one. And of course, details of everything I've used will be in the description below the video as well. And finally, if you're new to my channel, it would mean so much to me to have you subscribe. You can do that by clicking on the link here, and don't forget to click the bell notification icon so you get notified of all my future uploads. Next week, back to the living room build. See you soon.